Carli Showmaker here in studio with Jim Marino, the director of the Blue Cross Broad Street Run. Jim, how are we today?
I'm doing great. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. Now, we're also so excited, I mean, me personally, because I'm going to be running in the Broad Street Run coming up, my first year. Super excited. Can you give us some history on the Broad Street Run? Give us the whole rundown from the very start.
Well, it's been a labor of love is what I call it for the Parks and Rec Department. We're the owners and operators of the event. And Independence Blue Cross has been our title sponsor for over 20 years now. And the race started in 1980. It was an idea of our former rec commissioner. And, he said, let's try to do something for the city. So they decided to run a race right down through the heart of it.
That's awesome.
Right past the Temple community and everybody else. And, ever since then, it started with 1,500 runners, and they actually ran through City Hall courtyards first 2 years.
That's awesome.
And then ever since then, we've been going around the building. But, it's a straight shot, and the runners love it. The runners absolutely love it.
Now, being that it's grown so much over the years, so 1,500?
Yeah, 1,500 runners the first couple of years, and now we're at 40,000 with a lottery, and we're selling out. And it's incredible.
It's so awesome that it's gained so much attention. What's gained the attention? How did it kind of start from just this little run to then becoming so big?
Yeah, the uniqueness of it. I mean, being on one street for 10 miles is really a cool asset.
Seriously.
And having people do it and get the word of mouth out. The advertising, the word of mouth advertising has been tremendous on the race. And, once people do it, they want to do it again, and they tell their friends about it, and it's slowly built up. And then the last 5 or 6 years, it's exploded with the running community really taking hold of it, and the growth of the women runners, too. I mean, that's been a major, major increase in attendance for us that we've seen. The women have been an absolute wonderful asset to the event.
Now, one thing that you mentioned, it runs right through the heart of Temple University, which is actually how I kind of got so attracted to it, because last year I was one of those people standing out cheering everyone on as they passed. And then summer break came, and I went home for the summer, and I had to go to the dentist. And I'm sitting in the dentist chair, and we're talking about, I was like very new to running at this point, and the girl that cleans my teeth is like, oh, the one race you have to do, I've done it for 8 years now, is the Broad Street Run. It's totally word of mouth, but everyone loves it, and I feel like just everyone from around the area.
Yeah, they really have taken hold of it. It's the premier running event in the city, without a doubt now at this point. We're the largest 10-mile race in the country, and the 6th largest race in the country at any distance. The unique distance of 10 miles is one major aspect that everybody feels that they can accomplish after they do a 5K or a 10K. They feel that 10 miles is a good stepping stone for them to grow into, and then they proceed to start doing half marathons and marathons.
Yeah.
So it's been a real nice distance, and it's a great course. We do a lot of good things with all of our volunteer groups and all of our charities and things like that. So it's a win-win for everybody to be involved in it.
Oh, definitely. Now, with the volunteers, you want to tell us a little bit who volunteers, how to get involved, and how it can benefit the volunteers?
The volunteer groups are tremendous. I mean, we have some groups that have been with us since the race started almost.
Wow.
Different running clubs and things like that. But then there's a lot of organizations like local high schools. Their band might come out and play and be a volunteer group that way. Or their cheerleading group will come out and be a part of it. Or the local Boy Scouts. And being a part of the Parks and Rec Department, we get all the volunteer groups that use our facilities. So if, say, there's an athletic program that uses one of our rec centers and they're looking for a fundraiser, they'll come out and they'll work the Broad Street Run, and we'll stipend them and give them a contribution back from the race to help let their programs grow. So our community involvement is tremendous. And we're to the point now we have over 120 some volunteer groups that are part of the Broad Street Run event. In some capacity. And then, obviously we tap into the Temple community tremendously too. We get the fraternities, we get the band that comes out and plays for us, the football team's out, and the cheerleaders are out, Hooters out, and the whole crowd, everybody's out. And, the police department here has been a wonderful asset for us at Temple, and the medical team from the hospital. The emergency room staff at the hospital also was a group of people that have worked our finish line medical tent for 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's a true Temple flavored event to a certain extent, on a great scale that helps benefit everything we do for the city.
Yeah, well, like we said, the Temple team, the Temple Broad Street team, that it's kind of it's been growing over the years as well. And our motto this year is Temple Runs Broad, because we really do. And that's the awesome part about the Broad Street team and being part of Temple with that. It's just that it runs through the heart of us. Now, with the different groups, so I was one of the volunteers last year where we were just out there cheering everyone on. What are the different things that different volunteers can do?
Okay, there's a lot of different aspects of putting on an event this large. Obviously, so we have people to come and work at our expo to hand out the race bibs and the runner shirts and things like that. We have large groups of people to come and help do our food bag stuffing, so that we give a runner a refreshment bag to all 40,000 runners on race day.
Wow.
So that's a 3-day operation prior to the race to stuff bags full of tasty cakes and pretzels.
Definitely.
And all kind of munchies and taste. I said the taste cakes. But they get a piece of fruit, a banana, and then they also get an orange. And so we package all that. So every runner, when they finish, they get a bag handed to them. So we have people to do all the bag stuffing, and then we have another groups that'll come down and hand them out at the finish line. We have other groups that work all of our water stations all along the course. We have people to help collect the clothing that the runners discard at the start area, and that goes back to the homeless shelters here in the city.
That's amazing.
We collect all that clothing, and instead of just discarding it, we make sure it gets cleaned up and it goes to the homeless shelter, so that it's being recycled to a certain extent. And then we have a lot of other aspects to the event that we use volunteers for. Perfect thing that we've started the past couple of years is we actually do a cleanup day of Broad Street.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, the cleanup day on Broad Street is part of the Philly Cleanup Day, Philly Spring Cleanup Program. And what we've done is we've reached out to the local community to be a part of cleaning up Broad Street prior to the event, so that we put our best image forward for when all these runners come in from across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Philly-flavored area race, but there's also runners from every state in the country to come here.
I was going to ask you about that.
We have runners come from all over the country to be a part of this race, and we want to put our best image out there. So this cleanup day that we do in the spring prior to the race is a major effort on our part, recruiting volunteer groups, and especially from Temple. They help us in some of the neighborhoods along Broad Street, and we get some of the local youth groups involved in the high schools. And they'll come out and clean certain sections of Broad Street that need some tidying up, so that when race comes around, it's a real easy cleanup day, ahead of the race, that we're ready for it. We stipend all the groups that come and help us. And then we also give out trinkets and things like that. Like everybody that comes and helps us this year will be getting a Broad Street Run t-shirt. It's a leftover from last year, but it's a way for us to give back and thank them. And we also have refreshments for them and things like that. So, that's on April 8th. This year, where we're going to be doing the cleanup from 9 to about 1 o'clock, where we'll be doing different locations along Broad Street. It's on the Philadelphia Streets Department website, and people can register there if they want to join us at one of our Broad Street Run sites. And it'll all be listed on the website, the different locations on Broad where we're going to be meeting people and organizing different groups to help us.
Awesome. Now, 2 more questions left. First one. What advice would you give to anyone running the race?
The most important thing that I tell people, especially if it's their first time, not to get caught up in the adrenaline rush at the beginning when all 40,000 people are up there ready to go. Don't go out too fast, because if you go out too fast, you're going to pay for it in the last 3 miles. And the other thing is that when you get near the finish line's in the Philadelphia Navy Yard at the bottom of Broad Street. When you get to the Philadelphia Navy Yard front gate and you see the big sign that says, "Welcome to the Navy Yard," you still have a quarter mile to go.
I've heard about this before.
And when that quarter mile could seem like a mile if you start sprinting towards that Navy Yard sign, because once you go under that Navy Yard sign, the real finish line's another quarter mile inside the base. So the key is not to push too fast at the finish.
Definitely.
And just pace yourself and stay with the flow that you've been running the whole way, and you'll have a great time, because the spectators and the volunteers, we have over 4,000 volunteers that are helping us with this event, and they're out. And we have bands all on the way and cheer zones and things. It's a great experience for the runner, especially if it's their first time.
Yeah. Now, my last question for you today: as the director of this race, how has it felt to see this race grow into what it's grown into today, from where it started to just how amazing it's become? I
say it's a true labor of love, and I mentioned that in the very beginning. that the Parks and Rec Department staff and myself included in that, we have put a lot of time and energy into this event above and beyond our normal duties for the Parks and Rec Department. Almost everyone working on the event from the Parks and Rec Department and all the other city agencies, this is not their regular job. They're the ones that organize our rec centers, our older adult centers. They're the ones that work at the Robin Hood Dell East, and they're the ones that work in our offices doing our payroll and things like that. And it's all hands on deck. All the guys that go out and clean up all of our rec centers during the course of the year. Everybody joins in on this day and this weekend for the putting on the Blue Cross Broad Street Run. And I call it a labor of love because they all go above and beyond to make it so successful for the city. And knowing that we've done something good for the city has been something that we've been very, very proud of over the years. And, we're really happy that we can continue to do it.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. Well, thank you for joining me in the studio today. The Broad Street Run coming up on May 7th at 8 a.m. Definitely look forward to seeing everyone there. And thanks again for joining us today.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.